Oh no, a rockfall near Whispering Woods. Thomas and Percy were steaming around the town. Percy was pulling the Sodor mail car. Thomas was pulling his favourite coaches, Annie and Clarabel. It was a lovely day. What could go wrong? Sir Topham Hatt was on the platform at Maithwaite. Thomas stopped. "Hello, Thomas. There's been a rockfall on the track extension by Whispering Woods, and the track has been closed. You'll have to use the old track which goes through the woods," said Sir Topham Hatt. "The track in Whispering Woods, sir?" "No, I can't. I mean, the track isn't safe," said Thomas. "It's perfectly safe, Thomas," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You'll be fine."
"I think he's scared, Clarabel,"
said Annie.
"Well, it is quite dark in the woods,"
said Clarabel. Thomas left, worried. Percy stopped. "Are you all right, Thomas?"
"No, he's not. He's scared about going into Whispering Woods,"
said Annie. "Have you got to go that way today, Percy?" said Thomas. "No, I'm in the town all day," said Percy, and off he went.
"Go on then,"
said Clarabel. Thomas left. He stopped at the junction which had been blocked off, hoping that it had been repaired. It hadn't.
"Go on,"
said Annie. Thomas moved on again and then stopped. "Oh no," he said. "Do I go to the left or do I go to the right?"
"Go left,"
shouted Annie.
"No, go right,"
shouted Clarabel. Thomas got so confused he did a bit of both and derailed.
"Oh, now we're stuck and right by the woods,"
said Annie. Thomas's driver telephoned for help. Sir Topham Hatt called on Buster the Crane. And off he went. "Don't worry, Thomas," he said. "Soon have you back on the rails." He lowered his hook, attached a rope around Thomas, and heaved him back onto the rails. "Thanks, Buster," said Thomas. Buster left. While Thomas was stuck by the Whispering Woods, he had also realised that the whispering noises he heard were just wind in the leaves. There was nothing scary about it at all. Realising this, he steamed off through the woods quite happy with himself and made it back to town. he met Percy. "Hello, Thomas. Was everything okay in the woods?"
Shall I tell him or you, Clarabelle?
said Annie. But Percy had left. Thomas's secret was safe. For now, anyway. Thanks for watching our video, which was made with 2 of the Trackmaster Whispering Woods extension packs placed side by side.
Who wants to get some pumpkins for the party? Asked Daddy Pig. Me, shouted Peppa. And me, agreed George. I'll just get the camper van ready, replied Daddy Pig. We'll need more room for all the pumpkins. And off he went. Daddy Pig drove the camper van up to the house and Peppa and George jumped in. Don't be too long, said Mummy Pig. We still need to decorate the house. We'll be quick, they all shouted, and off they went. It didn't take too long to reach the pumpkin patch, and Peppa and George hopped out eagerly. Wow, exclaimed Peppa, look at all those pumpkins. You pick them and I'll load them into the van, replied Daddy Pig, and so Peppa and George got to work. Careful, George, cried Peppa, but it was too late. George had fallen into a rotten pumpkin and got it stuck on his head. Peppa helped to pull it off and they continued. Well done, said Daddy Pig. I think we have enough now. Let's go home. So they all climbed into the van. But when Daddy Pig tried to start the engine, it made a terrible noise. He got out to take a closer look. I'm afraid the motor needs fixing, Daddy sighed. And Grandpa Dog is a bit tied up at the moment. We'll just have to wait for him. But we need to get home to help Mummy decorate the house, cried Peppa. But just then they heard a familiar whistle. It's Thomas, shouted Peppa. Thomas stopped. Oh dear, are you stuck? He asked. Yes, replied Peppa. We need to get our pumpkins home. No problem, he replied. You can pop them in my empty truck and I'll give you a lift. Oh, thank you, smiled Daddy Pig. And they unloaded all the pumpkins into Thomas's truck. You two go with Thomas and I'll wait for Grandpa Dog, said Daddy Pig. So Peppa and George hopped into Thomas's truck. See you later, shouted Daddy Pig, and they waved. They were nearly home when disaster struck. A log slipped off a pile of wood and fell under the pumpkin truck. The truck derailed, spilling the pumpkins all over the road. Oh no, cried Peppa. What are we going to do? The truck is too heavy for us to put back on the rails. Don't worry, replied Thomas. Jack is on his way and he'll help us. Sure enough, Jack appeared. Peppa and George moved the log away from the track and Jack began to heave Thomas's truck back onto the rails. He also managed to scoop all the pumpkins up and put them back into the truck. Jack, said Thomas gratefully. No problem, said Jack, and off he went. Peppa and George climbed back into Thomas's truck and they continued their journey. Mummy Pig was relieved to see them when they arrived, and they unloaded all the pumpkins. Mummy Pig then thanked Thomas for his help. You're very welcome, he replied, and disappeared. Luckily, Grandpa Dog had fixed the camper van and Daddy Pig could drive home while Mummy, Peppa and George decorated the house. Wow, he cried, the house looks amazing. Well done, everyone. We've just got enough time to get changed before the party.
Hello, Tom Moss the Prank Engine. When we left you last time, you were stuck in your tunnel and a piece of track had been removed. How did you get out of that? Oh, I see. You keep some spare track just in case. Clever. What's that boulder? You're up to mischief again, aren't you? Thomas was in a very good mood. He was steaming around his branch line, pulling his favourite coaches, Annie and Clarabel. Percy was also steaming around, collecting and delivering the mail. Thomas stopped for Percy. Isn't it a lovely day, said Thomas. Yes, it's great to be an engine on a day like this, said Percy. Thomas went round the next bend, straight into a boulder. Where did that come from? Said Thomas. His front wheels were now on top of the boulder and his sides had collapsed. I might have known it was you, Tom Moss, said Thomas, who just couldn't move. Oh dear, Thomas, said Percy, who was passing. That looks painful. I'll take Annie and Clarabel for you and then get some help. Digging Riggs Chomper and Sam arrived. Don't worry, Thomas, said Chomper. We'll soon have you back on the track again. He pushed Thomas's sides back up. He then lifted Thomas off the boulder. Sam scooped the boulder up to take it away, but Thomas said he had an idea. Thomas thanked Chomper and off he went. Sam went in the other direction. Now Thomas knew where Tom Moss was hiding, and he crept around the back of his tunnel. Right, he said, now for my clever plan. He moved forwards a little so that Tom Moss could see him. It worked. Tom Moss charged out of his tunnel straight towards the boulder, but turned right, just missing the boulder. Thomas followed, but went straight on. Oh no! Twice in one day. How embarrassing. Thanks for watching our story featuring the Trackmaster Crash and Repair Thomas. When Thomas hits the boulder, his buffers push back, changing his face and dropping his sides. Then just reset them the next time. The included boulder can be placed anywhere on the track to activate Thomas.
It was James's day off, so he was fast asleep. Sir Topham Hatt then arrived. "Good morning, James," he said, startling James. "Sorry to wake you up, but I need your help. I've got a special delivery that I'd like you to make. Can you do it for me?" "But sir, my new wheels are in the repair shed. I can't go out on these." "Yes, of course you can. Just be very careful," Sir Topham Hatt replied. "OK, I'll do it," said James, and off he went. The delivery was a very special one. The bee carriage housed thousands of bees. The middle carriage was full of honey, and the back carriage carried 2 large ladybirds. As soon as James arrived, he reversed into the trucks, and his driver coupled him up. And off he went. Unfortunately, his old wheels weren't suited to the new points, so he had a bit of a problem. It was a mess. Luckily, the ladybirds were alright, but honey fell out of the middle carriage. Guess who found it? The honey really made Winnie the Pooh's day. Unfortunately, a bee escaped from the bee truck and landed on James's nose. "Ow!" he said, as he got stung. Luckily, Chomper arrived, and he helped lift the trucks back onto the track. He was done in no time. "Thanks, Chomper," said James. "No problem," Chomper replied, and James continued on his journey. When he finally finished his journey, the sting on his nose had gotten much worse. His nose was really swollen. So he dropped off the trucks and slowly went back to the sheds. What a rotten day off it had been. So he reversed into his shed. "What's wrong with your nose?" asked Thomas. "I was stung by a bee," said James. "Oh dear," said Percy. "I just need a good night's sleep," said James. Thomas and Percy were feeling cheeky, and Thomas had an idea. When James fell asleep, they sprung into action. The next morning, James felt much better. "Good morning," he said. "Morning, James," said Thomas. James came out of his shed. "Be careful out there," said Percy. "I will," said James, and off he went. Thomas and Percy stayed in their sheds, chuckling. James didn't realise anything was different. He passed Gordon. "Hi, Gordon." Hello," said Gordon. "Was that James?" he wondered. James then passed Spencer. "Hello, Spencer." "Hi, James." "I thought James was always red," he wondered. "People are acting awfully strangely," thought James. Then finally he bumped into Thomas. "Hi, Thomas. Why are people acting so strangely?" he asked. "Oh, I'm sorry, James. After what happened yesterday, Percy and I painted you yellow and black, just like a bee." Luckily, James saw the funny side, but he was proud of his red coat of paint, so he rushed over to the engine wash. "Ah, that's better," said James, and he rushed off to work, shiny and red as per usual. Today was a very special day for Percy. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him at the station. Percy arrived. "Hello, sir. I'm almost ready for the big game," he said. "Good. The soccer game starts soon, so finish your job quickly so you can pick up the important guests," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Yes, sir," said Percy. However, nearby, Thomas had overheard the conversation. Why does he want Percy to do an important job like that? I'm the most useful engine, he thought. Percy then arrived. "Hi, Thomas," said Percy. "I'm pulling an important coach later." "Oh, wow," said Thomas. "Have fun," and he reversed off. He was acting strangely, thought Percy, but he continued with his job. Thomas then had a naughty idea. It involved 5 trucks. He reversed into them and left. He headed towards the track crossing that Percy had to use. Something was about to happen. Percy crashed into Thomas's trucks. "Oh no, I'm sorry, Percy," said Thomas. "It's okay," said Percy. "Oh, how am I going to pull that important coach now?" "I'll do it," said Thomas. "Yeah, I guess you should," sighed Percy. However, nearby, Edward had watched the whole thing. Thomas left to get ready. He had dressed Annie, Clarabelle and himself up for the match. "Hello, sir," said Thomas. "Percy crashed, so I'm pulling that important coach instead." "Oh, okay," said Sir Topham Hatt. "The guests are waiting at Wellsworth Station." "Okay," said Thomas, and he went to go and pick them up. On his journey, he ran into Edward. "Hello, Edward," said Thomas. "Hello, Thomas," said Edward. "I see you're pulling Percy's important coaches. You do know Percy worked extra hard this week just to be able to pull those coaches. He was really looking forward to it." "Oh, I didn't know that," said a sad Thomas. He realised that what he'd done was wrong, and he had to make it up to Percy. So instead of going to Wellsworth, he went back to Percy. "Let's get you back on the track so you can take guests to the soccer match," said Thomas. "Oh, thank you, Thomas," said Percy. So Thomas coupled up to Percy's trucks and pulled Percy back onto the track. "But I don't have my coaches. I'll never make it in time," said Percy. "Don't worry, take Annie and Clarabelle," said Thomas. "Oh, thank you, Thomas," said Percy. So he coupled up to them and left. Edward then arrived. "Well done, Thomas, you did the right thing," he said. So they watched Percy pick up his important guests. It was a normal day on Sodor, and the trains were hard at work. Unfortunately, Frank was in a really bad mood. He charged straight into a tree. And it fell on the track. And Toby was heading straight towards it. Oh dear. Toby had fallen off the track. But Frank wasn't finished yet. He spotted a pile of cargo. This time, Thomas was heading for it. "What a mess," said Thomas. Frank ran away. Nearby, Samson and James were working hard. Frank changed a point, leading Samson straight towards a crossing. The timing couldn't have been worse. "Oh, I'm sorry, Samson," said James. "The points must have been changed. You weren't supposed to go this way." Both of the trains were stuck. Thomas then arrived. "Oh no, Frank got you too," he said. "Yeah, he changed the points," said James. "What are we going to do?" asked Samson. Thomas had an idea. The trains were put back on the track and a cage was made. Thomas then bravely whistled Frank over. Frank charged towards him. Thomas suddenly reversed out of the way, so Frank charged right into the cage. James then pushed the fence into the gap, trapping Frank inside. "It worked," said Thomas. "He shouldn't bother us anymore," said Toby. Samson also arrived to thank Thomas. So the engines could all return to their jobs without being bothered. Oh no! Poison Ivy's using her superpowers to break out of jail. So the Scarecrow and Poison Ivy have broken out. Soon, Batman returned. "Oh no," said Batman. "Poison Ivy's broken out of jail. With the Scarecrow. I better tell Superman." So he turned on his screen. "Okay," said Superman. "I'll look out for them. They won't get past me."
"You're next, Batman."
Oh no, I need help, thought Batman. Meanwhile, Thomas was hard at work. But there was something on the track. What's this? Maybe Batman will know. Batman! Batman! Ooh, what happened here? Poison Ivy broke out of jail with the Scarecrow. Oh, what's that, Thomas? So Batman had a closer look. Michaelangelo was inside. "Michaelangelo, I need help catching the Scarecrow and Poison Ivy." "I can help," said Michaelangelo, "but the other turtles are out there somewhere. They could help too if we found them." "I'll help look," said Thomas. So they all went in search of the other turtles. Batman found one straight away. Donatello was inside. Thomas didn't have such good luck. He came across some trees on the track. "That's strange," he thought. Then trees moved onto the track behind him. Thomas was stuck. Poison Ivy appeared. "Got you now, Thomas," she said. And then she made some ivy crawl over Thomas. Now he couldn't move at all. Nearby, Michaelangelo found a turtle. Huh? Another Michaelangelo was inside. "Why are you me?" asked Michaelangelo. "I'm not you, I'm Raphael, but in disguise as you." Elsewhere, the Scarecrow was watching over Superman. And the last turtle. Batman and Raphael had a plan.
Huh?
Got him, said Raphael. So Batman freed Superman. Open the capsule, Superman, said Raphael. So he did. A foot soldier was inside. He's not a turtle, cried Raphael. So Superman put the capsule back on him. I'll get Poison Ivy, said Batman. Okay, Raphael and I will keep an eye on these two, said Superman. So Batman left. Look, there's Thomas. And Poison Ivy, said Michaelangelo. Now we just need someone with muscle. Boom! Perfect, said Raphael, and he explained their plan. Hello, said Michaelangelo. Who are you? Asked Poison Ivy. I'm behind you, said Raphael. What? But there's two? Huh? Got her! So the turtles removed the ivy from Thomas and moved the trees off the track. And they were put back in jail. But with a more secure lock. And the foot soldier was put back into the capsule. The last capsule had a foot soldier inside. So where's Leonardo? Turns out that he was having a relaxing day off at the beach.
It was a lovely day on Sodor and everything was working well. Oh. The signalmen called for help and Digging Rig's chomper arrived. He got to work putting Gordon and James back on the line. Chomper left. Gordon left. James left. Now the crossing wasn't the best piece of track for the engines. Percy wanted to turn left, but couldn't. He had to go straight on, and then the long way round. Thomas wanted to turn right towards Maithwaite Station, but he couldn't. He had to go straight on and then back on himself. It was also a long way round. So Topham Hatt knew that this piece of track wasn't good. He needed to change it somehow. He had an idea. Just after he left, Spencer was steaming through. Oh. Chomper was called again. Chomper had only just left when Thomas and James collided. Chomper returned. The following day, Chomper had a different task. Sir Topham Hatt had asked him to dig up the crossing. He replaced it with a brown circle and then a round track piece on rollers. Yes, it was a turntable. Sir Topham Hatt was pleased with Chomper's work and hoped that the accidents would now stop. Gordon tried it first. Spencer was steaming through, and this time Percy had to stop and wait for the turntable to point to him. Thomas could now change direction easily without going the long way round. Success! No more accidents. Thank you for watching our video featuring the Trackmaster Tidmouth turntable. It has 8 track positions and the clever mechanism in the track can be set to stop the trains automatically and then released, or set to allow them to travel straight over. A great addition to the Trackmaster track.
It was the day of the Great Railway Show, and the engines were finishing off some jobs. "Hi Percy," said Thomas. "I'm really excited about the Great Railway Show." "Me too," Percy replied. "I've just got to finish this delivery." Diesel then arrived.
"Take me to the Great Railway Show!"
"You can't, you've been naughty recently. Sir Topham Hatt won't let you," said Percy. "Sorry Diesel," said Thomas.
"Silly Stevies!"
This annoyed Diesel, so he thought if he couldn't go, neither should any other engine. He stopped at a signal, which was right next to another signal, and a crossing, so Diesel had an evil idea.
Ooh, hello.
Meanwhile, Thomas was getting it fixed up to make him faster.
There we go.
"Thanks guys," he said, so he left, and Gordon went in.
Ta-da!
"Thank you," he said, and he went off to meet his brother, the Flying Scotsman. "Hello, Gordon," said the Flying Scotsman. "Are you ready to go?" "Not yet," replied Gordon. "Percy's just got to finish his last job," as he was running late. Unfortunately, he needed to use the crossing that Diesel was tampering with. And Billy needed to use the crossing too. And because Diesel tampered with the signals, they both said go. Oh dear. Sorry, Billy, said Percy. Oh, that's okay. I think the signals were faulty, replied Billy. Diesel thought he'd gotten away with it, but Gordon and the Flying Scotsman had watched the whole thing. Diesel! Cried Gordon. Uh-oh! Diesel ran. I'll get him, said the Flying Scotsman, and he chased after Diesel. But Gordon intercepted him. Gotcha! Cried Gordon. Well done, little brother, said the Flying Scotsman. So Thomas called Chomper, and he got Billy and Gordon back on the track. So Topham Hatt then arrived. Diesel, you are in a lot of trouble, he said. So the other engines went off to the Great Railway Show. While Diesel had to do everyone else's job.
Silly steamies.
Hi, I'm Dave, and thanks for watching my video. Here's another you may have missed.